The inevitable dominance materialized at the edge of the Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting distant sunlight in prismatic patterns. Commander Zeltorix stood before the bridge viewport, his segmented exoskeleton gleaming under the command deck's bioluminescent lighting as he studied the holographic projection of Earth rotating before him. "Magnify Sector 4, he chittered, compound eyes analyzing the blue planet's northern hemisphere. His executive officer, Sub-Commander Vexna, manipulated the controls with her 4 upper appendages, bringing North America into sharper focus. "Primitive infrastructure," Zeltorix observed, mandibles clicking softly. "Their power generation still relies primarily on chemical combustion. Pathetic." Around the command deck, the bridge crew, representatives of the Myriax Confederacy's 7 ruling species, monitored their stations with the practiced efficiency that had conquered 17 civilizations without a single defeat. The Confederacy's doctrine was elegant in its simplicity. Identify emerging intelligent species before they became threats, assess their potential for resistance, then subjugate or eliminate them according to predetermined criteria. Earth had failed most assessment metrics. "Tactical analysis complete, Commander," Lieutenant Shelvex reported, her carapace shifting to formal attention blue. "Their detection systems remain blind to our presence. Their weapon systems are predominantly chemical and nuclear, practically ceremonial. They have no unified planetary defense network." Zeltorix's mouthparts formed the equivalent of a satisfied smile. "And their social structure? Fragmented into nation-states, constantly at war with themselves," Shelvex replied, displaying intercepted broadcast feeds showing human conflicts across multiple continents. "They expend more resources fighting each other than developing space technologies." The Council of 7 was unanimous in their assessment. Humanity must be eliminated before they expand beyond their world. "Estimated resistance duration?" Zeltorix asked. 3 planetary rotations at maximum, Commander. Likely less. As the inevitable dominance passed the asteroid belt, 2,000 warships emerged from hyperspace behind it, forming the precise geometric pattern that had become the last sight of so many doomed civilizations. Stealth probes launched toward Earth, penetrating its primitive defensive networks with contemptuous ease. "Begin the standard approach," Zeltorix ordered. "Neutralize their satellite networks and broadcast the ultimatum on all their communication channels simultaneously. Let them experience proper civilization before they become extinct." Minutes later, every electronic device on Earth, television screens, cell phones, computers, digital billboards, flickered to display the same image. Commander Zeltorix, his alien features rendered with perfect clarity as his translator converted his clicks and whistles into Earth's major languages. "Humans of Earth," he began, his synthesized voice echoing across a suddenly silent planet. "Your transmissions have revealed your violent, primitive nature. The Myriax Confederacy has extinguished 17 civilizations more advanced than yours without suffering a single defeat. Your technological assessment indicates you are unworthy of preservation. Surrender now, and some may be preserved as specimens. Resistance is." The transmission suddenly cut off, replaced by a different feed. A human female in a bloodied military uniform stared directly into the camera, her facility visibly damaged behind her. Alarms wailed in the background, and emergency lights cast harsh shadows across her determined face. "This is Captain Maya Chen, United Earth Defense," she announced, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding her. "We've been monitoring your approach for weeks. Your stealth technology has predictable emission patterns." Zeltorix's mandibles twitched in surprise as Chen smiled, a gesture his species used to show submission, yet her eyes burned with something he'd never encountered. "We have only just begun to fight." The commander's carapace, flushed with anger patterns, launched the first wave. The first wave of Confederacy attack craft darkened Earth's skies at precisely 700 UTC. 5,000 teardrop-shaped vessels executing perfect mathematical formations designed to maximize psychological terror. Their energy weapons carved glowing trenches across major cities as civilians fled in panic. The mathematical elegance of the assault had broken 17 civilizations before. Commander Zeltorix observed from the inevitable dominance, anticipating the familiar pattern. Panic, disorganization, then surrender negotiations within hours. Begin preparation for occupation protocols, he ordered, already considering which human specimens would best serve Confederacy research facilities. His tactical display suddenly erupted with cascading alerts. 30% of his first wave simply vanished from the screen. Report, he hissed, compound eyes widening. His weapons officer trembled visibly, carapace flushing anxiety purple. The humans anticipated our attack vectors, Commander. They've networked their primitive missile systems in ways our simulations didn't predict. Impossible. Zeltorix chittered, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. Their satellites showed no evidence of such defensive capabilities. They concealed them, the officer replied, voice quavering. Underground launchers, submarine platforms, systems that appeared civilian have military functions. In the command bunker beneath the Egyptian desert, Colonel Sarah Hassan directed the counterattack, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces as she coordinated forces across 6 continents. The room hummed with tense energy as military officers from former rival nations worked in perfect synchronization. They move like machines, she told the assembled Joint Chiefs on screens around her. Their formations follow mathematical progressions. Predictable. Exploitable. Casualties? Asked General Romanov from his Moscow bunker, face grim in the blue glow of his display. Catastrophic, Hassan admitted. Civilian deaths in the millions already. But our countermeasures are working. Their ships are vulnerable when their attack patterns are anticipated. Zeltorix paced the command deck, rage patterns flashing across his carapace. Deploy the Clarity demonstration. Target their largest population center. The Confederacy flagship positioned itself over Shanghai, its main weapon powering up with a sickening violet glow. The beam struck with apocalyptic force, vaporizing 20 million lives in seconds. The resulting shockwave flattened everything within a 100-kilometer radius. Broadcast worldwide, Zeltorix ordered. Show them the futility of resistance. The expected capitulation never came. Instead, within hours, guerrilla strikes intensified worldwide. Confederacy landing parties found themselves ambushed by human forces using centuries-old tunnel networks and improvised weapons alongside modern technology. Their perfect formations became death traps in urban environments where every window, every sewer grate, every seemingly abandoned vehicle concealed human defenders. In a basement lab converted from a particle accelerator facility, Dr. Elena Reyes worked with fevered intensity over a captured alien shield generator. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from rage and grief. The wedding ring on her finger caught the light. Her wife had been visiting Shanghai when the demonstration weapon struck. Their shields operate on quantum resonance fields, she explained to the military observers surrounding her. Blood stained her lab coat from helping wounded soldiers earlier. They're impenetrable to direct attacks. But she adjusted a setting, causing the alien device to flicker. They've never faced a species that mastered quantum entanglement for weapon systems. One of the observers, a Russian physicist, leaned closer. You're saying there's a vulnerability. Reyes looked up, her eyes reflecting cold determination. I'm saying we can make their shields irrelevant. Give me 48 hours and everything we salvage from their downships. Above Paris, a Confederacy dreadnought suddenly lost engine control, spiraling into another ship as French hackers cheered in their hidden command center. Similar scenes played out worldwide as humanity's disparate, supposedly primitive defenses adapted with terrifying speed. Zeltorix stared at casualty reports that should have been impossible, his certainty beginning to crack. What is happening? He demanded of his intelligence officer. They're learning, Commander, came the hesitant reply. Faster than any species we've encountered. And they're They're not afraid to die. 3 weeks into what should have been a 3-day conquest, High Counselor Dravmak's holographic image towered over Commander Zeltorix in the Inevitable Dominance's communication chamber. The counselor's chitinous faceplates shifted in patterns that his species recognized as barely contained rage. 17 worlds fell before us without such resistance. Dravmak's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into standard Confederacy speech. Yet these humans, he spat the word like poison, have destroyed nearly 40% of our invasion force. The Emergency Council session broadcast lived to Zeltorix's command ship from the 7 Confederacy homeworlds. On split holographic displays, the representatives of the ruling species watched footage of human defiance. Children pulling wounded soldiers from rubble, factories retooled for war production within days, captured Confederacy weapons already modified and turned against their creators. The parameters were misjudged, Zeltorix offered, his carapace displaying submissive coloration. Their technological primitiveness concealed unusual adaptability. Kithful, the willowy xenoanthropologist, approached the council transmission. Her translucent skin flushed deep purple, the color of urgent warning. Unlike the insectoid dravids or crystalline Corellians, her species communicated as much through biochemical color shifts as through spoken language. Our fundamental error was categorizing humans by their technology level alone, she explained, displaying human historical records her team had analyzed. Their cultural and biological characteristics are unique among species we've encountered. Her display showed marathon runners collapsing at finish lines, expedition climbers continuing through blizzards, resistance fighters rebuilding after catastrophic losses. They don't surrender when conventional logic dictates they should, she continued. They evolved as persistence hunters, literally chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Their entire physiology and psychology is adapted for enduring hardship while maintaining hope. Meanwhile, beneath the ruins of Arnon, Dr. Elena Reyes hadn't slept in 72 hours. Surrounded by scientists from 30 nations, former rivals now working seamlessly together, she integrated the alien quantum shield technology with Earth's power systems. The prototype is ready, she announced, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. On the test platform, the modified shield generator hummed to life, projecting the shimmering field that successfully deflected the captured alien weapon's blast. "How soon can we replicate this?" asked the British physicist beside her. Reyes checked calculations on her tablet. With distributed manufacturing using facilities worldwide, 10 days for defensive installations, 30 for mobile applications. In Beijing, General Wei Lin reviewed holographic battle projections with his international command team. A young lieutenant questioned his strategy of apparent retreat in the Pacific theater. "Sun Tzu taught us to appear weak when we are strong," the general explained, moving holographic fleet positions. "We will let them believe they've found a vulnerability. When their reinforcements commit to the gap we've created." He closed his fist, and the simulation showed Confederacy ships surrounded. "That's when we reveal our new shields and spring the trap." On the command ship, Cathel's skin shifted to blue-black, the color of deepest concern. "There's something else," she told the council. "Every previous species we conquered fought separately by region or faction. Humans have unified completely within days. They're sharing everything: resources, technology, intelligence. It's unprecedented. Their unity is irrelevant." Counselor Dravmak dismissed her. "Send the reserve fleet. Crush them completely." But in Zeltorix's command center, the tactical display showed something that made his blood run cold. Humans weren't just defending anymore. Tracking projections indicated they were positioning resources for a counterattack. They couldn't possibly have the capability, his tactical officer protested. 3 weeks ago, Zeltorix replied quietly, "I would have said the same about their resistance." His compound eyes studied the Earth's rotating form. "What have we awakened?" The Confederacy warship Indomitable shuddered as its sensors detected hundreds of small craft launching from Earth's surface. Commander Zeltorix stood transfixed before the tactical display, mandibles clicking nervously as the primitive vessels accelerated toward his orbital platforms at velocities their technology shouldn't allow. "They can't have mastered our propulsion systems already," he whispered, as much to himself as to his increasingly agitated bridge crew. "It's impossible," his tactical officer agreed, though the evidence contradicted his words. The approaching ships, a bizarre collection of retrofitted terrestrial spacecraft, now fitted with salvaged alien tech, moved with deadly purpose. Their formation appeared chaotic, following no recognizable geometric pattern, until Tactical Officer Vexler gasped in sudden comprehension. "They're using our predictive defense algorithms against us," he exclaimed, frantically attempting to recalibrate. "They study our battle patterns and designed an approach vector that creates blind spots in our targeting systems." The counteroffensive unfurled with savage effectiveness. Earth's modified vessels swarmed Confederacy platforms, attaching themselves like parasites to crucial junctions. The retrofitted human ships detonated with surgical precision, targeting shield generators and weapon systems, while minimizing structural damage that would render the technology unsalvageable. In his lunar command center, Zeltorix slammed his appendage against the console, rattling instruments. "Deploy the Stellar Lance," he commanded, referring to the planet-killer weapon forbidden by Confederacy treaty. "Authorization override. Zeltorix Prime." But instead of acknowledgement, his command screen flickered, replaced by a human face, a dark-skinned woman with intricate braids and a predatory smile against a background of humming servers and holographic displays. "Commander Zeltorix," she began, voice rich with barely concealed satisfaction. "I'm Robin Sharma, United Earth Cyber Division. We've been inside your systems for weeks." The commander's carapace flushed with disbelief patterns. "Impossible. Our encryption is based on predictable quantum algorithms," Robin finished for him. Creative, but mathematically deterministic. Behind her, dozens of hackers worked at lightning speed across holographic interfaces. "Your Stellar Lance has been reprogrammed." On cue, the massive weapon platform rotated slowly, its devastating energy beam targeting the Confederacy's own support fleet. "How?" Zeltorix demanded, mandibles chittering in fury. "Your species barely had digital networks when we arrived." Robin leaned closer to the camera. "You assumed technological advancement follows a linear path. But humans? We adapt. We've had hackers thinking differently about systems since computers existed." Her smile faded. "We also had children in Shanghai." Near Mars orbit, Admiral Fatima Okoye stood on the bridge of the UES Resilience, Earth's first true warship built with hybrid technology. The view screen showed the approaching Confederacy reinforcement fleet, nearly 3 times her forces in size and power. "Prepare Nelson's Gambit," she commanded, her Nigerian accent more pronounced under stress. Her executive officer, Commander Takahashi, exchanged nervous glances with other bridge officers. "Admiral," he questioned cautiously, "that's a wooden ship strategy from 1805. Against their technology. Exactly why it will work," Okoye interrupted firmly. "They think mathematically. We think historically." The Earth fleet suddenly broke into 3 irregular groups, appearing to scatter in retreat. The Confederacy commanders, seeing vulnerability, committed their forces to pursuit, only to find themselves drawn into the killing field between Mars' hastily constructed defensive platforms and the suddenly regrouped Earth vessels approaching from multiple vectors. In his command center, Zeltorix watched a third of his fleet vanish from tactical displays in less than 20 minutes. For the first time in the Confederacy's expansion history, a commander ordered a full retreat. As his personal shuttle accelerated toward the fallback position, Zeltorix received a message from the Council of 7. "Return for immediate accountability proceedings. Failure against primitives is inexcusable." His hands trembled as reports continued flowing in. Humans had captured Confederacy manufacturing facilities on their moon. They weren't just defending anymore. They were building their own fleet now, incorporating Confederacy technology with terrifying speed. They were supposed to be primitives, he whispered to the empty shuttle compartment. What have we awakened? The grand chamber of the Confederacy thrummed with tension, its ancient architecture, crystal spires interwoven with living biotech, witnessing something unprecedented in 10,000 years. Open dissent. The Council of Seven's representatives sat in their traditional hierarchy. The militaristic Dravids at the apex, the diplomatic Loranians lowest. But today, the chamber's perfect order had fractured visibly. Humanity represents an existential threat. High Counselor Dravmak pounded his armored appendage against the ceremonial table, leaving dents in metal that had survived millennia. They must be eradicated completely. Behind him, holographic displays showed Earth's rapidly developing military capabilities, hybrid ships combining Confederacy technology with unpredictable human innovations, weapons development curves nearly vertical in their progression, and most disturbing, the speed at which humans had unified their previously fractious societies. Counselor Lirtal of the Loranians rose, her delicate features set in determination. Her species, evolved from aquatic ancestors, possessed iridescent scaled skin that rippled in complex emotional patterns, currently displaying resolve despite her people's traditional deference. For 17 conquests, I have supported our expansion, she said, her melodic voice steady. But humans are different. Their adaptability, their creativity, they could strengthen the Confederacy as allies rather than subjects. Allies. Dravmak's chitinous plates flared in outrage. They're savages. Savages who defeated our best commander, countered Vex Moore of the scholarly Palladian species, adjusting his crystalline thought amplifiers. Savages who reverse-engineered our quantum shields in months rather than centuries. Perhaps our assessment was flawed. The Council erupted into unprecedented argument. 3 species advocated withdrawal and diplomatic outreach. 4 demanded escalation with planet-killing weapons. The division itself was revolutionary in a governing body that had operated on consensus for millennia. Meanwhile, in a retrofitted underground facility beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Elena Reyes demonstrated her latest breakthrough to military observers. The quantum resonance disruptor, a rifle-sized weapon that rendered Confederacy shields useless, glowed with pulsing energy as it effortlessly penetrated the test barrier. Mass production begins tomorrow, she explained, dark circles under her eyes testament to her relentless work. And the prototype FTL drive is ready for testing. On the Confederacy homeworld of Drav Prime, Commander Zeltorix awaited execution for his failures when his cell door opened unexpectedly. Kefal stood there, her translucent skin shifting through urgent patterns. We must leave immediately, she whispered, her colors conveying both fear and determination. I've accessed Dravmak's private communications. He intends to sterilize Earth entirely, a biological weapon that targets human DNA specifically. Why would you betray the Confederacy? Zeltorix asked as they hurried through maintenance corridors toward a waiting shuttle, his mandibles clicking in agitation. Kefal's skin shifted to deep violet, the color of profound revelation. Because I've studied humans extensively now, they've achieved something no Confederacy species has managed in 10,000 years of dominance. Better weapons, Zeltorix asked bitterly. Unity, she replied. Look at our council, segregated by species, maintaining ancient hierarchies. Humans have thousands of cultures, religions, languages, yet faced with extinction, they unified completely within days. No coercion, no domination. Their shuttle launched, evading patrol ships with pre-programmed evasion patterns. Kefal showed Zeltorix classified data on her personal device, research she'd compiled on human social structures. The Confederacy fears humans not for their weapons, she explained, but for their ideas. If other subjugated worlds learn that cooperation brings strength without hierarchy, the entire Confederacy power structure would collapse. As their ship accelerated toward Earth, Kefal's skin shifted to gold, the rarest color, representing hope. I believe humans might create something better than conquest. On Earth, Admiral Okoye received the incoming ship's transmission, containing Dravmak's planet killer plans. In the war room beneath Mount Yamanto, military leaders from 6 continents gathered to prepare for what would be the decisive battle. 2 weeks, Okoye announced grimly. That's how long we have before they unleash everything against us. Jupiter's swirling clouds reflected crimson as Dravmak's massive reinforcement fleet emerged from hyperspace, 3,000 warships bristling with planet-killer weapons. At their center, the dreadnought Final Judgment dwarfed all others, its crystal lattice hull housing the oceanic evaporator capable of boiling Earth's seas in minutes. No negotiation. No prisoners. Dravmak commanded from his throne-like control center, chitinous plates flaring with battle lust. Humanity ends today. Earth's defenders watched the approaching Armada with grim determination. In the United Earth Defense Headquarters beneath Mount Denali, Admiral Okoye studied the tactical display, her weathered face illuminated by holographic projections showing the overwhelming Confederacy force. They've committed everything, she observed quietly. Exactly as we hoped. The Earth fleet, still outnumbered 3-1 despite rapid production, moved to engage. But instead of conventional formations, they executed what appeared to be a chaotic scatter, vessels moving in seemingly random patterns that confounded Confederacy targeting systems. Aboard the UES Vengeance, Colonel Jabari Mitchell checked his tactical gear one final time. The Nigerian-American Special Forces commander moved with practiced efficiency in the zero-G environment of the assault shuttle. Around him, 30 operators from 23 nations made their own preparations in disciplined silence, their exo-armor incorporating salvaged Confederacy technology. Our objective is the Oceanic Evaporator Control Node, Mitchell reminded them, his deep voice steady despite the rattling hull as enemy fire intensified around their carrier. Dr. Raya's intelligence suggests we have a 7-minute window before the weapon achieves firing capacity. A nearby explosion rocked their shuttle. Through the viewport, they watched an Earth cruiser disintegrate under concentrated fire, its crew sacrificed as part of the larger strategy. Standard infiltration protocols won't work, continued Mitchell. So we're going with something they'll never expect. He tapped his helmet, bringing up an ancient image on everyone's HUD. Operation Trojan Horse. Near Yoruba, Admiral Okoye watched as the first phase of Earth's defense apparently crumbled. Earth vessels fled in disarray as Confederacy forces pushed eagerly toward the inner system. Dravmak's fleet pursued, not noticing the subtle positioning of seemingly defeated Earth ships along their route. On the Final Judgment's command deck, Dravmak received reports of Earth's collapsing resistance with chittering pleasure. Begin Oceanic Evaporator warm-up sequence. Target Atlantic Ocean first. Warning klaxons suddenly blared across his ship. Intruder alert in weapons control. An officer reported frantically. How did humans board us? Our shields are intact. The answer became clear as security footage showed Mitchell's team emerging from what appeared to be wreckage of a destroyed Confederacy vessel that had been recovered for salvage by drone ships, a perfect disguise allowing them to drift directly into the dreadnought's recovery bay. As Mitchell's team battled through alien corridors toward the weapon controls, Admiral Okoye gave the command Earth had been waiting for. Execute Operation Checkmate. Across the solar system, apparently disabled Earth vessels suddenly powered up, revealing themselves as carriers for Dr. Raya's quantum resonance disruptors. The devices activated simultaneously, sending precisely calibrated energy waves that rendered Confederacy shields briefly transparent. In that crucial moment, Earth's main fleet, hidden behind Mars with enhanced stealth technology, launched a devastating surprise attack. Dravmak watched in horror as his carefully ordered formation disintegrated into chaos. On the Final Judgment's weapon deck, Mitchell's team suffered devastating casualties but reached the control center. With his last strength, the mortally wounded colonel manually overloaded the Oceanic Evaporator's power core, setting off a chain reaction. Get to extraction. He ordered his 3 surviving teammates, pressing the detonator even as enemy fire tore through his body. "Tell them. Tell Earth we kept our promise." The explosion rocked the massive dreadnought, disabling its primary systems. In the confusion, the surviving team members secured a greater prize than they'd hoped for. Dravmak himself, caught trying to reach an escape pod. As the battle reached its crescendo, Admiral Okoye made the hardest command of her career, deliberately sacrificing her flagship and herself to position Earth's ultimate weapon, a massive quantum field inverter, within range of the Confederacy's command network. "May God forgive me," she whispered, sending the activation code moments before her ship disintegrated under concentrated fire. The device activated, creating a cascading failure that rippled through the Confederacy fleet's connected systems. Ships lost power in waves, weapon systems failed, and the mighty Armada became suddenly, catastrophically vulnerable. Within hours, the battle that was meant to end humanity instead broke the back of the Confederacy's military might forever. The Grand Chamber of the Confederacy fell silent as the holographic projection materialized, not a cowering emissary begging for terms, but United Nations Secretary-General Amara Okafor standing tall in her ceremonial robes, her dark skin luminous against indigo and gold embroidery. She was flanked by military and scientific advisors representing Earth's United Nations. Behind her, footage played of Dravmak in Earth custody, and the remains of his once invincible fleet drifting as debris across the Jupiter system. "The Confederacy Council acknowledges this transmission," said Lurtal of the Luranians, her iridescent scales shifting through patterns of caution and reluctant respect. "You have surprised us, humans. We did not ask for this war," Okafor replied, her Nigerian accent lending gravity to her words. The exhaustion in her eyes was evident despite her dignified bearing. Earth had won, but at catastrophic cost. But having prevailed, we now seek lasting peace. The terms she proposed shocked the Council into stunned silence. Not surrender or reparations, but partnership. Earth demanded recognition as an equal member of the Confederacy, with full voting rights and technological exchange. "Impossible." Elder Counselor Vexilor of the Palladian species finally sputtered, crystalline thought amplifiers vibrating with agitation. "No conquered." He stopped himself, mandibles clicking. "No newly encountered species has ever joined as equals. No previously encountered species defeated your Armada," Okafor countered calmly. "The old paradigm no longer applies." The chamber erupted into argument. 3 species supported human inclusion. 3 violently opposed it. The deciding vote fell to the enigmatic Corellian representative, who had remained silent throughout. "We have observed," the crystalline being finally resonated, its faceted form shifting colors. "Humans fight with remarkable ferocity. Yet when victory was assured, they did not annihilate their enemy, as was within their power." Curious. The Council's deliberations lasted days while Earth waited. Finally, a fractured decision. Earth would be granted provisional membership, a compromise that satisfied no one completely. The militaristic factions, led by Dravmak's successor, refused to accept the ruling. Within weeks, the Confederacy splintered as Dravid forces attacked Luranian worlds that had supported human inclusion. In her office beneath the partially rebuilt United Nations headquarters, Okafor received the desperate transmission from Lurtal. The Luranian colony world of New Haven, populated by scholars and artists, face imminent attack from a Dravid battle group. "They seek to punish us for supporting Earth," Lurtal explained, her color shifting to desperate indigo. "We have no significant defenses." Okafor faced her war-weary advisors. "They were our enemies months ago," General Wei Lin reminded her, his face lined with fatigue. "We are still rebuilding our own world." "But they voted for peace," Okafor responded quietly. "What message do we send if we abandon them now?" The decision was made. Earth committed its newly built defensive fleet, ships desperately needed for home protection, to save aliens who had been invading them mere months earlier. The Dravid commander approaching New Haven detected the incoming Earth vessels with contempt. The primitive humans think they can challenge us beyond their system. Obliterate them. But these weren't the hastily converted vessels of Earth's early defense. These ships incorporated all humanity had learned, combining Confederacy technology with unconventional human tactics. Admiral Sarah Hassan, now commanding from the UES Phoenix after Okoid's sacrifice, deployed her forces using a modified Zulu buffalo horns formation from ancient African warfare, a strategy no spacefaring civilization had encountered before. The Earth fleet enveloped the stunned Dravid ships, neutralizing their advantage with precise strikes. On New Haven's surface, Luranian civilians watched in disbelief as human ships, bearing the scars of previous battles against their own kind, now placed themselves between Luranian cities and incoming Dravid bombardment. When the battle ended, Admiral Hassan personally led the Earth delegation to New Haven's surface. Luranian representatives approached cautiously, their skin shifting through colors expressing confusion and wonder. "You suffered greatly because of our invasion," one elder said. "Yet you defended us at risk to yourselves." Hassan removed her helmet, revealing the burned scars from an earlier battle. "Because principles only matter when they're inconvenient," she answered simply. "We fight to protect life, not just human life." The recording of this exchange spread rapidly through Confederacy networks, challenging centuries of ingrained thinking about dominance and subjugation. Across 17 formerly conquered worlds, populations began questioning the Confederacy's hierarchical order for the first time. The orbital station Unity rotated majestically above Earth, its crystalline spires and habitat rings representing an unprecedented architectural collaboration between 7 species. 1 year after humanity faced extinction, representatives from across the galaxy gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall for a historic ceremony. Secretary General Amara Okafor, her ceremonial robes now bearing symbols from both Earth nations and alien worlds, stood before the assembled delegates. Through the vast transparency behind her, Earth was visible, its scars evident from orbit. Vast impact craters and the glassy seas where Shanghai once stood served as solemn reminders of the war's cost, yet green recovery projects spread visibly across the wounded landscape. "Today we formalize what many thought impossible," Okafor began, her voice carrying to delegates of 27 species, the 7 founder races of the former Confederacy, Earth, and the 19 formerly subjugated worlds now granted independence. The Galactic Cooperative replaces conquest with collaboration. The document hovering holographically before her represented months of negotiation, establishing trade, cultural exchange, mutual defense, and scientific cooperation while respecting the autonomy of all member worlds. In the audience, Dr. Elena Rice sat beside a Luranian quantum physicist, the two deep in conversation about a joint project combining their species' different approaches to dimensional physics. Nearby, General Wei Lin discussed defense protocols with representatives from formerly conquered worlds, helping them establish protective networks without dependency on stronger powers. Captain Maya Chen, now bearing Admiral's insignia, watched with quiet pride. The burned scars covering half her face served as a permanent reminder of the cost of victory. Her ship, the UES Phoenix, carried diplomatic missions rather than weapons now. In a surprising gesture of reconciliation, former Commander Zeltorix approached the signing table. Once the invasion's architect, he now represented the moderate faction of his species in the new government. Initially brought to Earth as a prisoner, he had expected summary execution. Instead, humans had done something incomprehensible to his warrior culture. They showed him mercy. "I was given freedom to observe Earth societies," he explained to the assembled delegates, his translator conveying his clicking speech. "I walked your cities, watched your democratic processes, witnessed your diverse religions and cultures coexisting despite differences." His compound eyes shifted toward Okafor. "We believe your differences made you weak. We were catastrophically wrong." The ceremony culminated as representatives from all worlds placed their hands, appendages, or sensory organs on the treaty simultaneously. ancient enemies standing together, former conquerors alongside the formerly subjugated. Among the audience, Robin Sharma of Earth's Cyber Division sat beside Kithal, whose defection had proved crucial to Earth's survival. The xenoanthropologist's skin shifted through patterns of deep satisfaction as she watched the proceedings. "You know," Robin whispered, "some humans believed conflict was inevitable when meeting alien life. That different evolutionary paths meant we could never truly understand each other." Thal's skin rippled with the equivalent of gentle laughter. "Perhaps understanding is overrated. Respect and cooperation don't require complete understanding." As the ceremony concluded, Secretary General Okafor stepped forward for closing remarks. The chamber fell silent. They came expecting to find savages worthy only of subjugation. She began, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's losses and triumphs. Instead, they found humanity, complex, contradictory, capable of both terrible violence and extraordinary compassion. She gestured toward Earth, beautiful despite its scars. "In defending our world, we have changed the galaxy. But our work has only begun. Now we must prove ourselves worthy not just of survival, but of leadership." In hospitals across Earth, wounded veterans watched the broadcast alongside the aliens they once fought. In reclaimed regions where battles devastated ecosystems, joint scientific teams developed restoration technologies. And in orbit around distant stars, human and alien crews explored together aboard ships bearing the cooperative emblem.